I grew up in Borough Park, Brooklyn, New York, and my first school was Yeshiva in Borough Park. It wasn't the most sophisticated school pedagogically. We did a lot of our learning by memorization and rote, but I did very well there because I was very compliant. I did not ask a lot of questions. I did not challenge what was going on, and I would sit there at my desk like this with my hands clasped like this. Teachers love this, as opposed to the guy who sat next to me many times, who was always challenging, asking questions, always obstreperous. Teachers could not understand him. They couldn't grasp with him. And his mother would say to him, "Avi, why can't you be more like Heshy, like me?" And of course, Avi, his English name was Alan, his last name was Dershowitz. In later years, my mother would say to me, "Why can't you be more like Avi?" She never actually did say that. But we went on, and then from there I went on to the Yeshiva of Flatbush, again a Yeshiva high school, and I decided that I was going to change. Now, I had been very popular with the teachers, but I paid a price for that. I wasn't very popular with my friends. How do you become popular with your friends? You become an instigator, you become a bad boy, and that's what I decided to do. So, for example, we had a substitute teacher come to the room, and I'd say to everybody, when he turns around to face the board, we take our movable desks and we kind of inch up towards it. By the end of the class, the teacher was standing there, couldn't figure out why everybody was just right in front of him. Rabbi Elia used to complain that we would come back from lunch late, and he was getting very exasperated. So I said, "Guys, here's what we do. Let's come back early and hide in the closet." We come back early from lunch, we hide in the closet. Rabbi Elia opens the door, no one's there. He goes, he locks the door and runs down to get Mr. Bravman, the principal of the school, who everybody was afraid of. Of course, we come out of the room, we're sitting there with our Talmuds, and Rabbi Elia opens the door to show Mr. Bravman, and there we all are, studying, and he is so embarrassed. Well, the word finally gets out to Mr. Bravman that I am an instigator. He calls my mother into the school, and he sits down and says, "Mrs. Jacobs, your son is a menace to the school." That was his exact words. I remember this. My mother still thinks I'm the goody-goody from what I used to be, and she says, "My son? A menace to the school? My son, a menace to the school?" She can't get out. She's laughing. Robin looks at her and he says, "Now I know where he gets it from." Anyway, I did manage to get out there. Then I went to city colleges, and from there, and after we had gotten out of college in New York, I meet one of my former yeshiva friends, Jake. And Jake, and we're talking, and I said, "Jake, so, we're out of school now, neither one of us are married, families, or anything. Well, how do you spend Shabbos? What's a good Shabbos for you?" He says, "Good Shabbos for me." He says, "I take off work early on Friday. I get home, I take a shower, I get into my Shabbos clothes, I go to shul, Kabbalat Shabbat, Mariv, and then if I'm not invited to somebody's house for dinner, I go home and I have a nice meal, and I do a little Parsha of the week studying, and then I do a little reading, and I go to sleep. I get up early Saturday morning, and I go to shul, and then afterwards there's a kiddush. If I'm not invited out to somebody's house for lunch, then I do a little more studying. I catch up on my reading for the week. I always have Shabbos nap, of course, and then I go back to shul for Mincha, Shabbat, Mariv, and it's really a time for me to relax and to really feel that rest of Shabbos." And he says, "And for you, what's Shabbos like for you?" I said, "Well, a little bit different. I also take off work early on Friday afternoon, but I drive to Atlantic City." This is from New York. First thing I do is I go into the schwitz, and I get everything from that week. All the garbage from the week just melts right off me. And then I have a nice massage. Then I go in for dinner. and then afterwards I may take in a show, and then I go into the nightclub and I start talking to other people, and usually there's some woman there that interests me. We begin to talk, and if I'm lucky, which I usually am, she'll spend the night with me, and in the morning we get up, I order breakfast into our suite, we have this lavish breakfast, and then we go down, we a little tennis, maybe a little swimming, a little sports activity in the gym. Then we come up in the afternoon for a little quickie, and then before you know it, Shabbos is over, and we say our farewells to each other, and I drive back to New York, and for me that really is a change of pace, and for me that's really a good Shabbos. Jake looks at me incredulously. A good Shabbos? You call that a good Shabbos? No, my friend, that is not a good Shabbos. That is a fantastic Shabbos! So, of course, some of our yeshiva education, we've changed some of it by then, but there's something in that yeshiva education that remains with us. As you know, Alan Dershowitz is one of the biggest advocates for Israel today. Wrote a book, The Case for Israel, The Case for Peace. And Jake is one of the principals of the Joint Distribution Committee and the Jewish, the CJP equivalent in New York, the Federation. And he's doing a lot of research on what Judaism will be for the future. I myself, in my career has really been in a secular field, making software and websites user-friendly, but I try to do the same with Torah and Tefillah through some storytelling and some bibliodrama, which Bruce mentioned I'll be doing this afternoon with some kids. And what the yeshiva did for us, although they may have had some shortcomings in the pedagogical techniques, but they imbued us with a sense of Judaism that remains with us today. So if you'll join me, please, you can take the boy out of the yeshiva, but you can't take the yeshiva out of the boy.